Yeah, looking forward to the show, although I think it's going to be dominated by one subject, and that's the penalty that we're awarded with
Watched it.
with last night. Did you see it in the end? Yeah.
It's poor, isn't it?
Yeah, and it divides opinion. I think that's the big thing, is nobody knows what the heck's going on anymore. You know, Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, they both thought it was a penalty. I think Dermot Gallagher doesn't think it's a penalty. Henry Winter certainly doesn't. I don't.
I don't either, actually.
No.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? I can see how it splits opinion. I get that. But nah, not for me, mate. Not for me.
No, I mean,
not a great game, though. Watch highlights.
If you're a Leeds fan, you're an investor.
Oh, of course you are.
It was a great game, great start. You know, I mean, that's the big thing, and you see what it means to people. I mean, Sam, the Leeds fan bin man, back on. Just a quick one to say, we are back. He goes on to say, clear penalty. He moved towards the ball with the ball far enough away for Tarkowski to not even chance having his arm near the ball. Well, he didn't have his arm near the ball, to be brutally honest, did he, Sam? But he asked the question, he said, have you missed us? Yes, is the answer, isn't it? Because Leeds heard the atmosphere, particularly in the first half hour.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, you heard Gary Neville talking about it. In fact, he's caused a little bit of debate already, because he likened it to, what did he say, Ibrox and Anfield and places like that, which... Yeah, obviously I've sampled both of those. No, the atmosphere's fantastic. I've been to Leeds enough to know it's one of the best places. But it's great. I mean, you look at it, I must admit, there's part of me quite pleased that certainly two of the promoted sides have won their opening games, Jeff, as well.
It's great.
The last couple of years, it's been the case where the three sides have gone down again automatically. I do hope, and I think this year we will see something different. So, I mean, it's very early, obviously, but...
Well, I mean, certainly my predictions, I went for, before the first game, Sunderland and Leeds to stay up. Leeds need to find someone to put the ball in the back of the net. I couldn't see where goals were coming from last night. Same applies to Everton, and Rich the Swindonian Evertonian has said, Ali, lace up the wee boots, pal. There's a 2-year deal on the table for a natural finisher at Everton. You can even have a lay-in all week. Just show up on the day.
Get me that contract, mate. Show me it.
I remember when Merce went to Portsmouth, and he was living in the Midlands at the time, and Harry Redknapp rang him and he wanted him to come to join him at Portsmouth. Merce didn't know where he was. So, where are you, Harry? And he said, I'm in Portsmouth, son. He said, nah. I said, no. I said, I'm not going down there. And he said, I've got my family and my kids in Birmingham. He said, can't be going down there every day. He said, look, son. He said, do this. He said, you turn up for training on Friday, play on Saturday. He said, you'll still be better than the rest. So,
you let him go down to Friday.
Yeah, so that was the deal.
Oh, brilliant.
That's Harry's man management for you. Absolutely sensational. So, as you gather, Elland Road, welcome back. Premier League football live on talkSPORT last night. And they picked up all 3 points in pretty dubious circumstances. In the way it divides opinion, two texts come in virtually simultaneously. Yeah. Simon says, morning, I'm a Liverpool supporter. I'm failing to understand how that was a penalty last night. What's he supposed to do with his arm? Take it off and throw it into the crowd? The officials are poor. But Guy in Worcester said Tarkowski didn't fall into the ball by accident. He leant to his left to try and block the ball. Had it not hit him on his arm, there would be no discussion. But you're allowed to lean, you're allowed to dive to block the ball. He didn't make himself artificially bigger,
did he?
That's what I
think. And I don't think there was any movement with the arm, specifically. So that's what I don't think it's a penalty. But I think O'Brien hits the nail on the head, really. He said, penalty aside, he said, we're poor. I think that's from what I saw in the highlights, Jeff. That's what I thought the overall overriding, fact of the game from Everton's point of view would be. I mean, they've got to play a lot better than that. I'm not sure they'll be, penalty aside, I think they'll be disappointed in the way they played.
Yeah. You know what worried me about it was, not what worried me, because, I had no skin in the game at all. But the referee clearly did not give that penalty.
That's my point.
Because there is a pause. He puts his hand to his earpiece. He's listening to somebody. I'm thinking, who is he listening to? And James Tarkowski afterwards said the linesman who was 45 yards away gave it. I'm not sure whether that's the case or whether it isn't. But what I am sure is if there's any doubt, why did the VAR not say to him, go and look at it on the monitor? I was bewildered that he didn't.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's what it's there for. I don't know. I think there's maybe a fear from the officials clearly there's a fear to get it wrong, but I think sometimes rather than go over to the monitor, they probably will take the opinion perhaps of somebody else. Now, I think he's clearly listening to something or somebody. What they're saying, we probably will never know. But the fact he doesn't give it, what's making him give it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, again, you do wonder whether the officials were intimidated almost by the atmosphere, by the crowd, who are roaring for a penalty. Rightly so. If it's my team, I'm roaring for a penalty as well. But, I mean, Martin has texted from Lim and he says, if football's come down to awarding penalties such as that gifted to Leeds last night and for VAR to then confirm it, I am done. Let's hear from you this morning because it definitely divides opinion. There's no question about that, and I can completely see why. But Everton fans, are you more concerned with your performance, actually, than that penalty decision? After all the big build-up, you're into a new stadium at the weekend. What are your expectations this season? It won't be another relegation battle again, will it?
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.